mean they were going to pull the trigger on Wednesday?
That's crazy. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to an emergency podcast for the enemies of the fire. Some are calling this a new national holiday. Others are rejoicing in the streets. And some are even taking on to the online spheres. Gregg Berhalter has been relieved of his duties as U.S. men's national team head coach. I am FC Neo Tokyo. This is James. Down there is DPG on voice today. Gentlemen, what is your first reaction to this? How do you feel?
About time.
About time. I'm with you.
I feel happy. I feel happy that the right decision was made.
I mean, are we like? Why would it take a week? Or you know what I mean? Why did it take a week and a half to make this decision? Or
I know why.
It was why.
Well, they got to get the Brinks truck ready to get to bring Klopp.
Do you? I mean,
why,
I was 100% convinced he was going to stay, right? And so I don't even know how to exist in this world right now. Like, is Klopp a realistic thing that could happen for us? Like, do good things happen to people like us?
I'm not. The thing is, U.S. Soccer has enough money to pull the trigger and get Klopp. If they want to get Cherundolo, that's like low-laying fruit on a tree. We're not going to get anywhere. Cherundolo is basically going to be another Gregg Berhalter.
Well, you do know Cherundolo has 10 years of coaching experience in Europe, and his entire playing career was in Europe, correct?
He also played in Fire.
What?
Yeah, look it up.
Cherundolo played for the Fire.
Yeah.
Where was I when this happened?
This is like 99.
You didn't know this, bro? Like, man.
No, there's no way.
We had Bocanegra and Cherundolo.
We had a freaking solid squad back in the day, man.
Okay, well, still, he went to Germany and played there forever.
Look, I mean, Bob Bradley went to go, coach in Europe too, and look how that ended up.
Well,
I'm just saying, if we want to win the World Cup or try to win the World Cup, Cherundolo's not our guy.
I mean, dude, especially with the stumble at Copa America, is it realistic to think that in 2 years, even with Klopp, we could win a World Cup?
Well, I'm not saying we're going to win it. I'm just saying we're going to be competitive. I mean, if we're going to go there, we're not going to go anywhere, but if we're going to stay at home and play our own World Cup at home and not do anything about it, then by all means, go get Cherundolo, We're going to have another Gregg Berhalter situation in our hands.
Which nobody wants.
With Gregg Berhalter, I think Cherundolo is going to be, like you said, it's going to be more of the same. Where eventually we're going to be looking at him and just going to be saying, get out of here. Gareth Southgate, I don't see as a reality. I think he's going to Manchester United.
Please.
I think he's going
Please
to
don't let Gareth Southgate be a reality.
I would love for
him.
He seems to be making all the right moves. Right now, all the pundits just turned, and they're like, oh, wow, maybe Gareth Southgate is really a genius all along. Because he did just get to back-to-back Euros. He did get to back-to-back Euros. Can he win this one? That is the question mark. If we look down this lineup, the question is Jurgen Klopp attainable? Yes. If you throw everything at him, you give him everything possible, maybe it's maybe there's a 20% chance that he'll say yes to this new project. I don't know how keen he is for this type of challenge, but maybe he is looking for something new. Cherundolo is the obvious American along with Wilfred Nancy. I think Wilfred Nancy is absolutely got to be an option. They says likelihood 1 out of 10 here for this Doug McIntyre's top 10 coaches available. I think Wilfred Nancy's definitely on the table. I don't think we're going back to Bob Bradley for this, even though he might be one of the better top 5 coaches left on this list. David Wagner,
There's no way you can go back to Bob Bradley. There's just no way.
They might end up with David Wagner, just because that just kind of seems like the name that they might end up with. Thierry Henry would be awesome, but I don't. How tested is this guy? Has he been managing?
No, I mean, Thierry Henry has had like calamity follow him wherever he's tried to stick his flag down as a coach.
So to keep in mind, Mexico recently just brought back Javier Aguirre and then dropped their other head coach to assistant. So
I gotta add to that. You know, Javier Aguirre has literally become the Frank Klopas
of the Mexican national team.
The Mexican national team. They even look alike a little bit. So
just call him in anytime you need an interim.
And the crazy thing is that someone said that, you know, Jimmy Lozano is gonna be 2030 coach or something like, or he's gonna be in charge of the next World Cup cycle after this, which is like now you know that the FMFF is like literally just wants money. Like they don't care about winning; they just want money. You know, so
well, I mean,
it is a business. Yeah, you're right.
I'm looking at these other names. Patrick Vieira. Do you guys think that's likely for Patrick Vieira to come over? I think that's about as likely as Thierry Henry. They're probably both looking at Didier Deschamps' job, who might get canned after this. Would you want Didier Deschamps?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, you take the Frenchman. Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Curtin. I think he's another possibility that they might end up with the American. Like they're gonna be like, oh, home American. Gareth Southgate.
Well, I wouldn't hate. Well, hold on. I wouldn't hate Jim Curtin, but it's not nearly as flashy as we require.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't get the hype around Cherundolo. I mean, I get it. He's a great MLS coach, but that's just it. He's a great MLS coach.
Man, see, everybody's throwing shade. He was an assistant coach for 10 years in Germany.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. If this was after the 2026 World Cup, I would probably really consider it. I'm like, okay, cool. Give this guy a chance to manage the national team. We still got 4 years for the next cycle. So yeah, why not? But
okay, I feel you on that.
You want a guy that's going to deliver results within 2 years. That's a tall order for an MLS coach. Just saying.
All right. You're right. Now I apologize, James. Who was next on the list?
Jim Curtin. Yeah, just like this is the list: Jurgen Klopp, Steve Cherundolo, Gareth Southgate, Jim Curtin, Patrick Vieira, Perez, Henry, Wagner, Bradley, Nancy, and to me the most obvious choices, if you really could make it, Klopp. I put Nancy on there because Nancy is he's just something special. He seems to be something special.
He's bound for Europe for sure.
Yeah. Well, then then we need to find somebody with the tactical acumen or somebody who's got that up and coming specialness. Maybe Michael Bradley has been shouted out before.
Hold on. No, God, no. Do not give the keys to the car to Mike. No.
If anything, Michael Bradley should be like one of the assistant, like the third assistant coach.
There you go.
I agree.
I think that's what Thierry Henry is with France. I think he is some sort of assistant with France,
which is smart. Now, what about Pellegrini Matarazzo?
Pellegrini.
I'll take Pellegrini.
I'm feeling it, man. I feel like that sounds to me like I'll say if you shoot for the stars and miss on Klopp, I want Pellegrini before Cherundolo or Jim Curtin.
Available too. Pochettino.
Pochettino's available. I thought he was going to take the Chelsea job though.
I wouldn't mind Pochettino.
Pochettino would be great. Claudio Ranieri's probably past his due date. 72 years old. Just coming off of Cagliari, but man, for a time there, Claudio Ranieri could have been something fun. Imagine him. Yeah. Imagine with him with the players and with the media and all of a sudden he's going itchy bong bong and they're saying something funky and like I made the lads eat donuts and pizza or something, you know, just something fun. I think he would have been something funny, but he might be past his prime. Pochettino too special.
The other German coach was
Joachim Low.
No, thank you. He
Joachim
took
Low?
bona fide fucking golden generation. He took a bona fide contender and just was terrible with him. When he took over, he had so much talent. Of course he won, but like, look at what's happened since. Germany has not performed. Shit, did they even make it to the knockout rounds of the Euros?
I think they did. So you're telling me he's like another Jason Kreis?
I feel like it. Oh yeah, they did. They made it to the knockout round, but they lost. But yeah, I feel like it. I don't know, man. I'm not on board with Logie Low, and I'm not on board with Gareth Southgate.
Bruh.
And like I said before, like if we're gonna hire like an MLS coach, obviously, you know, Cherundolo is like number one on the list. But give the man a full cycle. Don't give him a half-ass cycle because you're setting him up to fail.
I mean, probably, but okay. Can we talk about this real quick? What is the scariest possible hire? I mean, the scariest possible thing is that they go 3 months and they say that we asked Gregg Berhalter to help us search for Gregg Berhalter and we found Gregg Berhalter.
No, they found Peter Vermees.
That's what I was gonna say. That is the scariest thing that could possibly happen is Peter Vermees gets thrown this job. I can't believe you were right there with me.
You know what's crazy is that we will crap on Peter Vermees and then watch the man take this team to like the semifinals.
Oh, I will gladly. I'll record a TikTok every single day and say I was wrong. Right? I'll eat that crow gladly, man.
I honestly, let's. The next couple of weeks are going to be interesting on what the U.S. Soccer Federation is going to do.
You think weeks? I think they're going to wait till like a couple weeks into the European seasons.
U.S. fans with the whole.
I was saying I think they're going to drag their feet and wait until a couple weeks into the start of the European seasons.
Do you think that they're going to be hung up on it being an American?
I don't think so. The guy who runs the place is English, right?
I think you got to look past an American. You got to look into bringing the best of the best of the best available who's going to be able to go on and have success with this. I think you need to look at tournament coaches who excel at the tournaments. And so there might be a diamond in the rough, a couple decent coaches that like they might excel at tournaments. Like what about this coach of Bo Russia, who that just won Bundesliga?
Oh, I mean he's tapped to take over at Bayern, right? Or he's looking at the German job actually.
Yeah, I imagine, but
there was talks of that. But
how attractive is the American job? Is it a top 10 coaching job right now because of its potential pay and exposure?
I'm going to tell you this. It's more attractive than it was 2 years ago because you don't have to hang around for 4 years. You only have to do 2.
Do you think that they're going to be able to attract a better coach than Mexico?
I would assume so, right? Like I think it's a little bit more high profile right now than Mexico.
The key is, will they be able to attract a better coach than Canada?
No. Well, here's where my brain's starting to go. We're all thinking of these guys who don't have jobs. What would it take to pull Carlo Ancelotti away from Real Madrid?
I love that shout. I just don't see him. He's probably still going for Champions Leagues.
But I mean, like he's
awesome.
already. I think so.
Pep Guardiola has been shouted out. I don't
see that happening.
I don't see that happening.
He's like got a self-run industrial complex behind him. Like he's good. Beyond that, who else would you really want to like? Do you want the U.S. playing sorry ball? I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. It's tough. But are we gonna do any dancing on Gregg's grave here?
The man had a World Cup, and then he was let go because of the reason, all that stuff that happened for the reason when he's like, oh, that was all weird and unfortunate, and maybe this was like to make it up to him for some reason, but it was time to move on before this project.
That was the time.
That was the time to start a new project, to bring. It was time to bring in somebody like Jesse Marsch to maybe give these guys a different, fresh tactical approach. And maybe Jesse didn't work out. Maybe Jesse had this tournament and he flounders with the U.S. national team.
Maybe we're firing Jesse right now.
And maybe we're firing Jesse instead. And we're like, oh, let's go after Klopp. We tried the Jesse Marsch route. But I think that's the mistake that they made. And how there's not many ways that you can go about correcting that. And the best way you can go about correcting that is by hiring a megastar coach.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't Klopp coach Pulisic and Gio Reyna?
Not Reyna, I don't think. But I could be wrong.
I think he did coach Pulisic.
Oh, God. I just thought of another terror. What if Thomas Tuchel got this job? Would he sit Christian... Would he sit Pulisic?
He probably will.
He probably will. I mean, I'm terrified he's going to take over at AC Milan. Oh man, I don't want that terrorist anywhere around our program.
Oh wow.
Oh, the internet was wild today. What did I send you, James? What did it say? Oh God. They wanted to give Timothy Weah a Congressional Medal of Honor because he got the red card against Panama.
Have you ever heard of Hervé Renard?
No.
How come it sounds really familiar?
Hervé Renard, a 50-year-old Frenchman and the head coach of France's national women's team, has something of a reputation for pushing national teams to a higher level. In 2012, Renard led Zambia to its first victory in the African Cup of Nations, AFCON, a full 38 years after the first team's tournament appearance. By the way, this is from USA Today. 3 years later, he led Ivory Coast to its second ever AFCON win and first ever since 1992, becoming the first head coach to win the AFCON tournament with two different countries. In 2018, Renard got Morocco into the 2018 World Cup for their first time quality. Okay, now I'm thinking 2022 World Cup, Morocco. 2022 Morocco was a good team. I think they beat Spain. The same Spain team that's in the final here on Saturday upcoming. So
well, it wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same, but
somewhat
similar.
You guys don't want to give Hugo Perez a chance?
No, thank you. Perez? That's no, thank you. We that's an experiment. That's after 2026. Give me all of the Hugo Perez.
Renard was coaching Saudi Arabia at the World Cup and he coached them to a 2-1 World Cup win over Argentina.
I know who you're talking about.
Keep in mind that Hugo Perez pretty much crapped on the Salvadorian Federation.
Yeah, true. Now that Renard, he's who'd you say he's in charge of? What women's team?
He's in charge of the France's national women's
team.
So
they've got Olympics coming up, so he's not going to be. He obviously took the job to go to a major tournament, and for the women, Olympics is a major tournament. So like he's going to be there at least until the end of the Olympics.
I really like this Hervé Renard shout, and I think that there needs to be some more digging there. See if maybe he'll come available after this France Olympics deal, because that guy was exactly the type of guy I'm thinking about, where maybe it's a tournament specialist.
Kind of like how Sam Allardyce saves relegation battle teams. That kind of thing. He's a specialist of national teams.
Yeah, so that's what you got to end up with. If you can't land the superstar in Klopp or the Pochettino, some sort of superstar coach, then you go with this super tournament coach that's been taking these underdogs farther than they're supposed to go.
Honestly, Marcelo Bielsa.
I waver. Bielsa. Yeah, I feel like Bielsa is not going to jive with our players, and not just because they're soft type of shit, but I just don't think I don't think they're going to jive. I don't think Bielsa would be the right guy for this crew. I have a feeling we'd see hard workers like Kyle Beckerman types, he'd show up. You know what I mean? Like it would be a madhouse. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe that's the best possible candidate.
I don't really see. People are saying Gareth Southgate is going to be an option. I don't really think so. I don't see that being an option. Mauricio Pochettino, that actually seems like that could be an option. That could be a match.
I'm not against Pochettino. Obviously, Klopp is the number one target.
We should go through the ex-Chelsea Rolodex. Maybe there's some guys there. Who's that Italian coach that they had for not too long ago? Longer hair.
Who are you talking about?
I'm just going to look up Chelsea coaches former. I'll just... not Frank Lampard, not Rude.
What about Ranieri?
Not Rude. Not Claudio. Not Gus Hiddink. Not Rafa Benitez.
God.
You already said Tuchel. No. Not Scolari. Andre Villas-Boas. No.
God, it's like a trail of broken dreams,
John
dude.
Terry, no. Oh, where Chelsea?
Wait, John Terry coached Chelsea?
It says John Terry. I mean, Antonio Conte. What's Conte up to?
That's a good question. I don't know, man. He seems
head coach of Napoli right now. He just signed.
Oh, yeah.
Just like him and Jose Mourinho. I would love Jose.
Oh, Jose would have been lit. That would have been awesome. It's
fun shouting out these names and speculating. Like these are all possible names, but not.
So wait though. We have our heads in the clouds, dude.
Oh, yeah.
What happens when we hear it's down to Cherundolo or Caleb Porter
or Bruce Arena?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Caleb Porter. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's gonna be something disappointing. I just don't want to be disappointed after going through all this again. Man. And
You're
it's
forgetting
gonna
Ben
a problem. Go ahead.
You're forgetting Ben Olsen.
Oh no! All these scary names, like Ben Olsen or Peter Vermees or God.
So another shout out is Thomas Frank. He is the coach of Brighton. Brentford. He's the coach of Brentford. And only apparently in the past 3 seasons, only Brighton have taken more than Brentford's 35 points against the Big Six in the Premier League. He's beaten Pep Guardiola, Chelsea, and Manchester United 4-0 recently. That was the guy who beat Manchester United 4-0 last year. Thomas Frank is the head coach for Brentford. Something to think about. I like this guy.
He's destined for good things, just not the national team yet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's one of those things. Like when you have a Premier League job, do you really ever leave it for anything other than say the Brazilian head coaching job or something? Like,
well, what happened to Ralph Ragnick? Wasn't he a thing for a minute there? Right now, I'm reading about Ralph Ragnick again.
That's those are the kind of scary things, man, that are out there. We're all so really excited. And we're talking about Klopp, but
Ragnick was the coach of Austria. Austria in this last tournament did really well.
Okay. Do you think he's going anywhere?
No.
How's Austria looking in qualifying?
Austria national team coach is Ralph Ragnick. I don't see him going anywhere, but America could be an upgrade of a challenge. Ralph Ragnick would be, and Austria played better than the sum of its parts.
I mean,
he did not work out with Manchester United, but maybe that works well with the USA.
Oh God. What about Chris Armas?
No. Patrick Vieira.
I know.
Strasbourg finished 13th in League One last season.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No thanks.
Vieira is the great players have trouble coaching because it's like, just do it like this. It's like, dog, only you and 3 other people on the planet could do that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it just, I don't know, man. Some of those great players always like struggle coaching. Man, I'm kind of.
Wasn't Patrick Vieira interested in coaching the U.S. men's national team at one point?
Of course he was. He's only good enough to coach in League One. Of course he wants an upgrade. You know what I mean? Like, of course he wanted to coach the U.S. team. He's not good enough to. But now they're talking that dumb shit, and that's the only reason his name's in the mix is because he was talking that shit back when Gregg was, getting re-signed. Oh man, what do we think the time frame on this is going to be? Let's wildly speculate
They could take 3 months on it as long as they nail the right guy.
Yeah, I'm calling the European seasons will have started by the time that they announce somebody. Unless it's Pep. If it's actually, or not Pep, I'm sorry. Unless it's Klopp. Like if it's legit Klopp, they only did this because they actually had that lined up. And we'll hear about that soon.
That'd be so sick.
But if it's not Klopp, then it's going to be months and months.
Is Joachim Low actually an option?
No, I don't want that. Boo.
What about Zidane?
Zidane, you know what the problem was? You know what the problem is? We need a guy who is so good at tactics. We need a tactics guy, and Zidane is like a managed player guy. He's managed personalities guy.
Who's that Italian coach who used to play in Gattuso? Am I thinking of?
Yeah, Gattuso, yep.
What about Gattuso? We need somebody who adopts that American grindiness and mentality, and maybe that's an Italian coach.
I'd rather just a very experienced coach with a lot of pedigree.
David
I don't
Moyes.
want any more I don't want any, if he was 10 years younger, 100%.
All right, I'm loving this list here. I'm going to read this list here for you guys from CBS Sports. The ideal choice, Jurgen Klopp. Proven international coaches that could be available, Joachim Low, Hervé Renard, which I like, Gareth Southgate.
Boo.
Experience coaching with the big boys, Mauricio Pochettino, Frank Lampard, Zinedine Zidane, Max Allegri, former Juventus manager.
Okay,
who managed Tim Weah and Weston McKennie.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Thomas Tuchel, former Bayern manager.
Boo.
Marcelo Gallardo, former Al Ittihad manager. Gallardo is quite a ride since departing River Plate. It seemed like he was River Plate. He was destined for a top European role, but it just hasn't materialized. If a job like the United States were to open, Gallardo does have pedigree and an attacking style, which could actually suit the team. He's also familiar with the United States, having played for DC United. Marcelo Gallardo, dark horse.
You're not wrong.
I like that. That's actually a sneaky
but you know
dark
what?
horse.
But you know what you forget? Matt Crocker has no fucking clue of any history. He's an English cat who just got this gig. So he's just thinking on a whole nother wavelength. Unless he just hands it off to the Chris Armas, Brian McBrides, or whoever the hell else is working there of the world, and that's why it's an all good old boy MLS club.
This list
but
is
I
great.
don't know, man.
This list is great. Graham Potter, former Chelsea manager. Stefano Pioli, former Milan manager.
Hold on. Graham Potter, that's an eye raiser. I think that's one where I wouldn't love it, but I'd definitely be like, well, let me wait and see what happens before I get mad about it.
I'm loving this list from CBS Sports. Stefano Pioli, former Milan manager. Pioli could make a lot of sense for US men's national team. Let's see. Had links to clubs like Marseille, but they couldn't. But they didn't lead to him finding a role. He's once again, that's an Italian manager. That style might dovetail with American grittiness and tenacity.
They all play there now.
David Moyes, that's true. David Moyes, former West Ham manager.
David Moyes.
Let me ask you guys this: do you want these guys to, put this team together like they're, like in the English style or the French style or the German style?
I don't care what style they put it in, as long as we get the coach and he does what he wants to do with the team.
I'd rather not see them park the bus. We're not good at that. Our defense is our weakness, so we almost need to step on.
What is our offense? Our offense is our left side.
Well, hold on. Well, our offense is. Hold on. I'll put it this way. I say that while knowing, for the U.S. as a collective unit, it has not been a good offense. But when you take those players and put them on their club teams, the offensive players on our team produce way more. And I feel like we can't be too defensive. I don't want anybody playing 5 in the back. The further back on the field you take Tim Weah, the less effective he becomes. And same thing with Pulisic. The further you pull these, and that takes away our major hidden gem of like what makes us a great team is Dest and or what could make us a great team. I apologize. Is Dest and Robinson.
In other words, you want an attacking style team that's not going to sit back when they're playing the big boys. Like,
right, I want an attacking style team, but like I understand we're not going to be a possession based team, but I also don't want to be a Red Bull team. So I know it sounds real basic, bitch, but a really balanced kind of thing. Like I said, I don't want Red Bull ball, but I don't want the possession, because we can't do the possession tiki-taka thing. I don't think. I don't know. I don't know if you guys put any thought into it.
I don't, like I said, I literally do not care. It's not my place to tell them what coach, this star coach that we're hiring. It's not. What is my place to tell him what style to play? That's the reason why the reason why we're hiring him the big bucks. He gets paid the big bucks, boys.
Have they fired Mikel Arteta from Arsenal?
I'll take Arteta.
I'd take Arteta. I mean, I feel like that's
basically Pep Guardiola's like understudy.
He is, but that's the problem. If you have a Premier League job, you're not leaving it literally for any international job, I don't think, unless you're already failing and in like relegation battle.
Well, let me move on to the next.
Would be fun.
I'll move on to the next shout out. It's Rudy Garcia, former Napoli manager. Experience with Saudi Arabia. Could be looking for a new role. Next up for his best of the MLS. That's Wilfred Nancy, Columbus Crew.
Well, of course.
I like that. I think he's one of the best coaches in MLS.
Do you think he has a prayer of becoming the U.S. coach, or he wants
Absolutely. I want him before any American out there right now. Jesse Marshall's my number one, and they missed out on him.
But you know what's going to happen? If they're going in the MLS route, they're going to go for Cherundolo.
Yeah.
Well, Cherundolo is listed after Jim Curtin. Both possibilities. I think Jim Curtin and Cherundolo are definitely on the table. And if we end up with either of them, it's disappointing. It's more of the same. It's more of this. It's like I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it working. I want greatness. I want a reason. I want people to tune into the U.S. men's national team and become fans. And Jim Curtin and Cherundolo doesn't create any fans. It doesn't create new American fans. But Jurgen Klopp, when people start hearing Jurgen Klopp, the fans aren't going to know, but that type of thing, that fire, that passion that American fans will spread to others when they realize that we got this awesome coach to be like, oh shit, well maybe we should tune into the Caitlin Clark phenomenon with Jurgen Klopp going on here, because that's what it is. It's another cult of personality that follows Jurgen Klopp and the coaches of his ilk. Jose Mourinho's,
Well, think about everywhere you work. Don't people come up to you because they know you like soccer once they hear of the big news? Like, so who's this Messi guy? Or I heard the Messi's in MLS now.
That's exactly what happens. And when we tell them that we got Klopp, and we can tell them that we got the greatest coach, ESPN. We got one of the greatest coaches out there. People who know nothing about soccer will all of a sudden know things about soccer and be like, did you hear about the U.S. men's national team? They got the best coach in the world. And then it'll just be sitting at the bar, and then that's going to spur more fans. So that's what I love about that idea. I'll continue on here. Pat Noonan, FC Cincinnati manager. Gary Smith, former Nashville SC manager.
Now we're scraping the bottom.
They fired him to hire BJ. What the fuck?
Other American coaches that are out there, David Wagner. I think that's an okay shout. Former Norwich manager. If you can't get Klopp, there are worse ideas than calling someone who worked under him in David Wagner.
Not terrible.
Pellegrino Matarazzo, Hoffenheim manager. Out of the American coaches, Matarazzo. Matazzaro. It's Matazzaro. Wait. It's literally listed it's listed 2 different ways here. It's Matazzaro. Okay, then they have it incorrectly listed the first time. No, they have it twice, Matarazzo, and then they have another time Matazzaro. I'm gonna have to Google this guy. Just to
well, he's an American-born coach, and he took Stuttgart.
Matarazzo, that's what it is. Okay, Pellegrino Matarazzo, Hoffenheim manager. Out of the American coaches, Matarazzo is one of them that had the least interest in the role of the United States due to having a strong role with Hoffenheim. Joining in February 2023, he led them to a Europa League spot. So it'd be down to, is the U.S. men's national team ultimately a bigger role for him than managing a European contender in Europe?
He will be good for the 2030 project.
Not a terrible shout. Not a terrible shout. Let him do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let him do his thing and circle away. Yep, come back later. I feel you on that one. If he even cares, though, I mean, he's, there's a reason why some of the guys born to American servicemen in Germany felt more American. It's highly possible this dude feels very German and doesn't give a shit. Just does not care about the U.S. thing, and is annoyed that we're trying to claim him.
He's got a very Italian name, Pellegrino Matarazzo.
I guess I take that back. I shouldn't have said German, but you get what I'm saying, right? Italian, whatever. He's coaching. He's been coaching in Germany. I mean, he's making a name for himself, and if Tuchel can get a job, you can get.
Well, if Tuchel can get a job.
You guys watched Tony Meola's, I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch Tony Meola when he had to sit around with Clint Dempsey and.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he kind of, a lot of the stuff he said is like, him being an Italian American, he said that, half his family were cheering for Italy. And then I think only his parents were cheering, or his mom. Only his mom and his grandma were cheering for him. He said that his dad was cheering for Italy. And Italy 90 World Cup when the U.S. played against Italy. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to convince him to coach the U.S. national team because if this guy starts taking off, what if the Italian national team is interested in getting him on?
Yeah, I mean, the Italian national team is in shambles. I mean, for real. Missed 2 World Cups. They crashed out of this Euros. Shambles.
They're going to look at him and be like, oh, wow, look, there's a stabilizing force right there. Let's get him on board.
Yeah, I like this Matarazzo the more I'm reading about him. The next guy listed is Bruce Arena. I just don't see that being realistic. That's more likely for the Fire or Gregg Berhalter to the Fire. Come on.
That's the speculation we all feel is that we're gonna have to start putting up with fucking Greg.
We'll see. Crocker Connect. We got Ruben Sellez, Reading manager, and Ralph Hasenhuddle, who's the Wolfsburg's manager. That rounds out this list. I think this is a great little list.
Wait,
you missed a name.
Frank Lampard?
Valko Paunovic.
Oh, no. Don't do that, no.
No, I know, I'm kidding.
Hey, he won a tournament. He's won a World Cup. He's a leader of men as long as you don't bring up soup.
He's a leader of men.
Leader of men?
He's a leader of young men.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
And he likes soup.
Don't talk, as long as you don't bring up soup, yeah. Maybe unless it's a lesson he still likes to talk about. Guys, it's been a great little shout of all the names. If you guys and watching have any ideas for other names or things you want to see, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, this was an emergency podcast because, of course, we recorded last night, and the video for this week's podcast is already out, and we're like, "What's going on? Greg hasn't been fired yet."
But we predicted
my God.
it. We're like, and then we're like, "Do you think it's gonna happen?" And we're like, "Yeah, it hasn't happened yet, so I'm a little worried, but I think it's gonna happen." We said it.
We really.
Wasn't it Fox Sports? Was it Fox that broke the news that they were going to decide his fate midweek this week? I mean, they said this over the weekend.
Yeah, something like that.
See, over the weekend, I heard Monday. So I was refreshing Twitter all day Monday and Tuesday, acting like going, what's going on? But no, I did not expect this to actually happen.
So, as far as the coaching change, it's probably not going to happen until the fall because, since we're getting Klopp, they got to load up the Brinks truck. They got to put him on boats. they gotta ship it out across.
It takes a while to go across seas, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly, let's check Twitter real quick just to make sure we don't already have Klopp.
Man, if they went over to Klopp and they just gave him that and just spit on that thing and just let him know, man, Klopp coming here would be something special. I feel like it'd be the biggest home run for American soccer since Pulisic has landed.
I mean, I think you're right. I want to shout this out. I saw on Twitter Pablo Maro. God damn it, dude. I'm dyslexic as hell. Pablo Maurer said, what if they hired him again? What if they went on a month-long search and hired him again?
You mean AI? U.S. Soccer Federation using AI, and AI says,
bring in Gregg, Triple G.
Triple G, you know who's best suited to be the men's national team coach is the guy that we did the research on last time. Oh, God. Well, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. This was a fun little emergency episode. When you're seeing this, it will have been last night, but just everybody raise a glass. Enjoy yourself. Cheers.
Who's your number one coaching dream? Who's the most realistic? Let us know.
Yeah, you never want to see anybody suffer, but
it's honestly, okay to dream. I think in this instance,
it had run its course, and it's time for a miracle. Let's do it big, U.S. Soccer. Anyway, punt that like button, subscribe. Comment the comments, man. Do the comments. I'll be the one talking to you most of the time.
I believe that we will win.
USA.
All right.
USA.
Now.
USA.
Peace.